you too dark, you too fat, you're too ugly, you're too boring, you're too everything for a man. So change so you can get one. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Justine Falama and I'm so excited that you're here because today I want to talk about a topic that is interesting and so important at the same time, which is things I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, relationships, and love. And yes, before we get into it, I have been gone from YouTube for quite some time because I needed the break, but also because I was just doing a lot in my life that had nothing to do with social media or content creation. So I just figured there's nothing to talk about, there's nothing to share. But I don't want to hold up this video too much and ramble. So if you want to know what I've been up to and want a life update, definitely leave a comment down below and I would love to do one. But today we're talking about things I wish I knew about love, dating, and relationships in my 20s, because girl, I'm 35, not married, no kids, but I have a lot that I learned. The first thing that I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, relationships, and love is that love and relationships aren't everything, but more relationships, not so much love. Relationships are not the end all be all. Girl, when I tell you my 15-year-old self was really serious about planning my life because I thought I'd be married by 25, have kids by 27, and by 29, I would be all settled in a white picket fence, dream household, dream family. Didn't happen as we know, right? So that sucks, but at the same time, I feel like I spent a lot of my 20s worrying about this. A lot of my 20s, like early on, were spent on making that a reality. Then the later part of my 20s, after 25, because clearly we did miss the mark, is that I spent on grieving the fact that I didn't make it. And that was such a waste of my 20s. Because knowing what I know now is that once you have what you want, right? You realize it makes such a small part of your life. And no, I'm not trying to say that it's not important or not, like worth a try to be in a relationship or have love in your life, but it's not as big as we make it out to be. Because I heard this analogy that I think is really, really beautiful, probably a couple years ago, that talks about the 4 burners, right? That talks about a stove with 4 burners and relationships being just one of these 4 burners. And no, not all of them are always at 25% at the same time, but all of them need to be taken care of. So let's think of the 4 burners, right? You have relationships, you have career, you have family, and you have community, right? Or friendships. If you want to take care of each of these 4 burners at a certain season in your life, it means that at one point in your life, you might put 80% or 75% into love and relationships and finding that life partner. But it can't always just be about that. So if 10 years of your life, basically your whole decade of your 20s, you quote unquote waste on relationships, getting into one, staying in one, and then eventually having to maybe get over one, you are wasting time not focusing on the other parts, right? So now that I am in a relationship with a loving partner, I'm realizing, you know what? I haven't really sown into other parts of my life, especially career, and I'm having to make up for that lost time. So if I was in my 20s now, I would say, girl, slow down, chill out, you'll be fine. Yes, at one point you want to dedicate more to it, but not all the time. It's not that deep. The second thing that I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, relationships, and love is that self-love really is the key to being loved. Because the truth is, when I realized, right, the purity of love and what it really, really, really means, which I found through God's love, I'll be right honest, guys, when I realized how much God loves me, that's when I realized how much I deserve to be loved. Because I look at it like my nephews. My nephews and my nieces now, because I have 2 nieces, 2 nephews. I love them to death, right? I love them to death. And I know the purity of love that I feel for them. But yet, these kids, they be rubbing my nerves. They be rubbing me for money. They be rubbing all the stuff that I usually think is quite important with the person that I love, right? But I love them regardless, even though they can't walk, they can't talk, or sometimes they can't do anything for me and I have to do everything for them. The purity of love is I love you the way you are. Yes, as a baby, as an infant, as a child, as a grown adult, because it is what it is, right? And that's how I know God loves us, with our flaws and all, like Beyonce said, flaws and that's why I love you. Listen to that song. Once you get it, you get it. But once I realized how God loves us deeply and with no condition at all, even we're so flawed as human beings, that's when I realized if God loves me like this, and yet He created me like this, why am I trying to win somebody, some earthly being's love that makes me feel like I'm not good enough? Because that's what I did. In my 20s, oh my God, I was bending over backwards, making a split, trying to run a marathon and be the most beautiful model look-alike just because of a guy. Because it was like, you're too dark, you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're too boring, you're too everything for a man. So change so you can get one. No, baby girl, that's not how it works. Once I realized, oh my God, God loves me. My parents love me. My siblings love me. My friends, people who chose me as their companion in life, love me. Why? Why would I think that the person that I want in my life then should not love me exactly the way I am, flaws and all? So self-love really is the key to love overall, because once you realize how much you are loved and deserve to be loved, that's when you start insisting that the other person loves you and treats you accordingly, with respect, with grace, with patience, with all the good stuff that comes with being with someone. Oh yeah, and by the way, I am drinking a little bit of wine because I'm nervous and I haven't posted on it in a long time. I'm sweating profoundly, so please just keep it to yourself. Don't mention in the comments and yeah, my nails, let's just not get into it. So let's get to number 3. The third thing that I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, love, and relationships is that you will not die if he left. Girl, why did I think I'm gonna die after my first breakup when I was 19? I literally thought my heart is gonna stop. And you guys know that's what heartbreak will tell you. That's how it's gonna make you feel. You feel like the world is ending. Everybody has abandoned me. This person doesn't love me, doesn't want me. I will never find a man, never find something good in my life. The sky's gonna turn dark. Girl, I used to be so dramatic, but basically, a few years after my first breakup and the first time I thought I'm gonna die, I kind of became a pro because men kept leaving. Men kept leaving. So because of that, I realized that, wow, I am not gonna die if this relationship doesn't last, right? And as sad or as pessimistic as this might sound to you, I think it's also liberating, because once you realize that there's no one single person in this world, right? And remember, always remember, we're more than 7 billion people on this earth. So there's not one single person that can leave you and take everything for you from you unless you allow them to. And that's what I had to realize. I had to realize that even though this person didn't choose me or maybe didn't desire to be with me, that doesn't mean that I don't have still a beautiful life, a beautiful family, a beautiful community, and more importantly, my self-worth, my faith, God, all the stuff that you actually really need to make a beautiful life. So if I would bump into my 20-year-old self who just went through a crazy breakup and thinks nothing's gonna work out anymore, I would tell her, it hurts, I know, but at the end of the day, tomorrow the sun will rise again. And one day, the pain you feel now will not be as bad anymore. So hopefully, any one of you can relate. And if you can relate, make sure you leave it in a comment. I would love, love, love to hear from you, because I know that a breakup sucks. I have a lot of videos on this channel where I talk about that. But at the end of the day, breathe, you'll be fine. Number 4, right? And that one is a funny one, but I think everybody can relate. That is that another thing I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, love, and relationship is that in dating, it is important, right? It's so important to ask for what you want. And for the girl who's currently in a dating relationship and doesn't really know how to get out of the situationship and into a relationship, it's not just important, but you're actually allowed to ask for what you want in dating. And here's a little story. When I don't even know if it was in my early 20s or my late teens, but I read this book, and y'all know it. Everybody knows that book. Oh, sorry, the wine. Everybody knows that book. It's called Why Men Love Bitches. And embarrassing. Why Men Love Bitches, because it's this book that we read intrigued by the cover, right? Why Men Love Bitches. Oh my God, am I a bitch? What? So, and in this book, it basically just tells you that the woman who is not easily led astray, the woman who believes in herself, the woman who has self-confidence and everything is the woman who gets the man at the end. And I never used to be that woman. I was not the woman who has self-confidence. I was not the woman who asked for what she wants. I was kind of the people pleaser, right? I was the one who would get with guys and then who worked so hard to be accepted by them, but then they would leave anyhow. So I definitely was not the bitch. But here's why. Because I always felt, oh my God, I don't want them to dislike me. I don't want them to hate me. Because when I read this book, I thought of the woman, this boss lady woman at work who always stands up for herself and gets the promotion because, you know, she's super assertive, and that wasn't me. I could not relate to her until a few years ago, probably. But because of that, I had a hard time understanding the book and taking on that persona or embracing parts of that persona, right? But I want you to move away from having this fear about bitch and what it means, right? Because obviously we're not talking about a bitch. Either way, this word is absolutely horrendous and we shouldn't use it anymore. But I think of the girl at church who's so fire for God that she is not easily led astray, that she's not giving up her purity just because someone looks good, that she's not lusting over a guy that, you know, gives her the wink after church or asks her like some inspiring faith questions and she's like, oh my God, this is my husband. No, she's the girl who's like, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I know what I want. And she communicates it, she believes in it, and she holds herself accountable. You know, she moves with that faith. That's the girl, because she asked for what she wants and she knows she would get it, because why not? Because why should she not deserve a beautiful, loving relationship and husband if she in turn is a beautiful, loving person, right? So yes, it's really important that in your 20s, you flex that asking muscle, that you understand, hey, I can ask for what I want. And no, I don't need to dumb down. I don't need to act like I don't want a relationship because I want to be cool so that you like me and so that we can start hanging out. And then a few months down the road, I start saying the true things that I want. And now you are all up in your feelings and making me feel like I am mean. No. Go in with intention right away when you start dating. What do I want? If you want to be in a casual relationship, cool. Friends with benefits, situationships, all the good stuff that honestly sucks at the end of the day. But if you want babies, if you want marriage, if you want purity to wait until you get married, ask for that, communicate that, and watch the right guy step up to the plate. Now I talked a lot. The last thing, and let me actually take a look at my notes. Oh, how could I forget? The last thing and the most important thing that I wish I knew in my 20s about dating, relationships, and love is that the goal is not to get married, but to stay married. If you're my newsletter, shout out to my newsletter friends because y'all know the tea, then you know I say this all the time. We've romanticized it so much to get married, to be the Instagram couple, to have the big 70K wedding, which, by the way, that's crazy. 70K on a wedding, girl, that's a house. That we forget that people get married and have these lavishest weddings all the time. But you know what they also get? Divorces. So if you focus on staying married and what it takes to stay married, then first of all, you're going to read my blog and watch these YouTube videos. But secondly, you will also approach dating differently. You will approach relationships differently. You will be in a mindset of like, I don't need to be you will approach it in a way where it's like, it's not just about him choosing me, but it's also about me choosing him, about me making sure that he's the guy who will be able to compromise. He's the guy who will be able to cherish me and to be faithful and to be truthful. He's the guy that will know how to go through thick and thin, because let's be real, relationships are hard, okay? I'm in one, and one day at a time. Let me talk about this another time. If you want to be in a relationship, want to get married, approach it from long-term thinking and then ride it all the way back to, if I want to stay married, do I need to marry in order to get to that goal? And once I realized that, I was also not so much into dating anymore, because I was like, you know what, let me just be by myself until the right guy comes around, because I don't have time to be divorced. I don't have time to raise children by myself, because you know they will get your every nerve. Okay, being a single mom is the hardest job in the world, and as much as I applaud you guys, I'm not choosing that faith for me. So yes, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said earlier, if you want to know what's been going on in my life, leave a comment down below and I will make a life update video. I do not know yet if I'm ready to come back to YouTube full time, because you know me and commitment is just a hard thing. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, because I don't know why I'm feeling myself today, so maybe I will come back. Maybe I will even film another video right after this one. We don't know. Either way, love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and I see you in my next video.